Good morning, everyone. Welcome back in our Tuesday edition of our Putting India Back to Work webinar. We've been at it now for more than about 8 weeks. And specifically on this topic for the last few weeks, we've had the opportunity to hear some of our experts coming from varied industries. I mean, we had people from manufacturing, we've had people from BFSI, consumer businesses, we've had people from e-commerce, we've got people from startups. So it's been really quite an engaging conversation because everyone's perspective in many ways are different, and yet we noticed certain commonalities that are coming through in terms of how people are approaching the current situation. So without further spending time on this, I guess I'd like to introduce our panelists today. Again, quite a diverse pool of experts that we've got. We have Sonal Raj. She is leading HR for Indophil Industries Limited. We have Bikram, Mr. Bikram K. Nayak, who is head of HR for L&T Next. And we have Prakash, Dr. Prakash Ranjan, who's head of HR for Suez Water Technologies and Solutions. So just to come right to the topic, I'm going to go with you, Sonal, first. My first questions to you would be, with business everywhere across the country gradually resuming, putting India to work would be challenging. I think there are many constraints, there are many considerations. So how do you think you will be going ahead? I mean, from your perspective, how do you plan to infuse confidence in employees so that you can resume the business operations? And are there any specific measures, protocols that your organizations are implementing to encourage this process? Because putting India back to work will start with putting employees back to work as well. So your perspective on this, Sonal, and I would request all the panelists to give a little bit of an overview of your business before you respond. Yes,
sure.
Sonal.
Thanks, Vadodara. So hello everyone, I am from Indophil Industries, and this is basically into crop care. So it's a agrochemical business. And as you all must be aware that during this lockdown period, there were certain essential industries, and one of them was the agrochemical one. So we kind of extensively worked during this lockdown period. So there wasn't even a day's stoppage that happened for all of us, actually. So yeah, as India is coming back to business and getting back on its feet economically as well. So I think, Rituparna, I would say that it's not a day's job to get the confidence back into people. It is something ingrained as a philosophy for a company, what you believe in, what are the values that you've ingrained, de facto. Because during this period, I would say, so-called crisis period, what was important is that every manager should know what decisions can be taken by them and should know what is priority for the company. So that I think is a major part which played a role in it. So wherein it was more of knowing that the company values people, safety first, people first is what, and that's what has made us a great place to work. And so with that thing ingrained in it, it was very easy for all of us to come in line with this and having that confidence in people that this company will surely take care of you guys. All said and done, at the same time, the speed was also very important, that, acting with speed. So it's like even before the lockdown was announced, we kind of estimated that and asked people to work from home before that itself. And after that, also the protocols which were given to them as to how you need to operate during this period and the various initiatives that followed. Now, coming back to business, it was important that the manufacturing started first. And just to give you a background, like our manufacturing units, there are 4 units which are in Gujarat. And there were many other industries also opening up there. But, due to safety problems, a manpower problem, one or the other problem they were facing, and they were getting WhatsApp that this company's unit has caught fire, there's a blast in another unit. So it became all the more important to follow all the PSSRs and, be safe first. So, and we started with this everyday meetings, which was very important, so that everything came to the fore at the 9:30 meeting. So we called it as a war room, and that's where we kind of met every day, the leadership team. So I guess that is what brought the confidence, because there was speed in communication, there was speed in actions. Whatever we were saying, we were actually doing, and people could see that happening. Yeah.
Interesting. Bikram, over to you. Tell us what's been happening. What's your perspective on this?
Yeah, thank you, Ritu. Dr. Prakash Sodal, and I think more than hundreds of viewers who are watching this live webinar. A very good morning to all of you. I'll start with some live cases or situations or concerns what I have come across in the last 2-3 months. Let me start with this scenario, this situation, what has happened. When the lockdown announcement happened on March 28th and 22nd onwards, the whole country was locked down. Lot many employees have moved to their native during or just before the lockdown, and after during this lockdown period, when it was time to time it was opened or some avenues are there, they have gone back to their native. So few days back, one of my employees, junior employee, he called me. He is currently somewhere in Cuttack, Odisha. He said, I'm kind of confused. I said, what happened? No, my project manager has asked me to come report at work in Mumbai, and I am in a place near Bhubaneswar, Cuttack. I am ready to come, but the situation is such. My father is not, willing to uh, leave me or go to the work. I said, why don't you give the phone to your father? I would like to speak to him. When I started interacting with his father said, see, Bikram, he is my only son, and I don't want to risk his life. Huh? This is situation. This is scenario one. Another scenario, I'll just take 2 more seconds. There is an employee who is very near to our office, hardly a few kilometers away from our office. I called him once to just ask how he is doing, how is his health, what are his plans for coming back to office. Then he said, I'm doing well, quite adapted working from home, but currently I have some little throat pain and cough. I think I should not come to office now, because if I come, people may think this person is spreading corona. So out of guilt and all, I am not coming. Let my cough go, then only I will start coming to office. That is situation 2. And the final one more situation I'll tell you. This is something everyone, each of us would have seen this. Somebody called me and said, I am in a state of despair because somebody in my colony, in my apartment, tested positive. So I am fearing to venture out. I am not able to sleep at night because thinking the next door the person is there, what will happen to me? So this is something we all would have come across. So considering all these 3 situations, if you see the common thread, it is all about panic, fear, and anxiety. So what we did, as a unit, let me tell my unit, the L&T Next, which is the digital arm of Larsen & Toubro. It's a newly built entity which gives products and platforms to various customers. It is like IT services company. So during this situation, what we did, we tied up with one of the yoga meditation, online provider, Mind House. That is, gym for your mind. Something, we asked our employees to enroll in that app, and they can give lot of yoga meditation online classes, plus lot of calming and relaxation videos that helped a lot. Another thing what we observed, 60 to 70% our employees can work from home because the nature of job is such. This percentage varies from industry to industry. In my industry, pretty well, 60 to 70% people can work from home. So what we saw, the people are facing a lot of connectivity issues, Wi-Fi issues. Many people would not have the dongle or the uh, router. So we arranged for them and given that confidence that yeah, we will be reimbursed on a kind of the uses you are doing. So that gave a lot of confidence to them. So this helped a lot. The third, the final important thing which we have done is communication. Communication is very important during such situations, and we have done series of town halls. Our top management uh, kind of interacted with the employees. They have addressed the employees, and in all these things, one thing what I started that not the employees are only panicking and in fear. The family members, like the father I said, is so concerned about his son. Same for the spouse or the kids at home. So what we did some virtual get together, like involved the family to do some kind of activities like showcase their talent and all the talent shows and the virtual town halls. All these things have helped during this time. Uh, as we speak, I'll add on more points. So this is initially I wanted to put to all of you.
Thank you very much. Yes, Dr. Prakash, now let's hear from you. Again, I would request you to spend a little time talking to the participants about your organization and then of course your specific response to the question I just asked.
Yeah, thanks, Ritu, and welcome my fellow panelists as well as friends on the call. And it's a great opportunity to interact in this time of crisis and pandemic and share perspectives. I think that makes a lot of difference. I head the HR for Suez Water Technologies Solution for South Asia. And we are part of a group worldwide which is based out of Paris, France, which is more than 160-year-old. So as a business organization, we have seen a crisis of different magnitude. It could be swine flu, it could be even Spanish flu and many others. So as a organization, there is a lot of understanding and resilience built into the system to deal with crises like this. And that is where the culture or the nature of the organization comes to test. What we see that we're going to put organization and build confidence. Company, am I audible?
Is I think your internet is breaking a little bit, but yeah, you're cool. Now
okay.
Yeah, carry on.
Okay. So before the even lockdown started, I think as a company, we proactively responded in terms of making the workplace safer, reinforcing our environment, health and safety guidelines, which is one of the founding principles of the running of the organization. Even starting the Team A, Team B concept so that we start reducing the pressure at the workplace. So all these started, and during the lockdown, in fact, as most of the organization would have responded, and I heard Sonal responding and Vikram responding, that we formed the leadership crisis team, which definitely meets every day or every alternate day to review all the different directions and what is happening inside the organization and outside the organization, and synthesize into a clear-cut communication or the employee advisory every week. Because otherwise, the biggest thing is that to be in crisis when you hear the ambiguities. So how to remove the ambiguities, I think, was a major task. We had business level Sparks who would transmit the communication on the business and the work so that the employees on the ground do not get ambiguities around what to do and what steps to be taken. We are a very varied business. It's not a singular product business. We have in India or South Asia 3 factories. We have a global R&D center. We have a global engineering design and delivery center. We have products, we have projects, we have operations and maintenance sites. So taking a differentiated view of the business to deal with this crisis, it wasn't one uniform approach that, okay, make everyone work from home, because even in all times, we cannot be work from home or for the 100% of the business operations. So we took a differentiated approach in making people comfortable to work either from work from home or from working sites. So we even had to resort to government to take the special permission. And I heard Sonal being in the essential services. We do serve essential services because our business is waste. Now, what else we can do to our customers? So our founding principles are what we call the core values, which is basically the passion around environment, the customer centricity, the respect, and the people. These were actually intertwined into delivery of whatever we did for the organization. Simple steps like putting an emergency information workflow does not travel. If they have to make an essential travel, they need to take a special approval. Mobilizing the massive IT assets to make people work from home. So there were multiple things, but I would like to put one specific instance, which is really a very remarkable thing, because in this crisis, what gets most impacted is the confidence, the energy, enthusiasm, and the capacity of the individual to dream and envision. I think that was the most important attention for all of us, that how do we put the visibility to the people who are bringing the exemplary employee stories. And believe me, Ritu, we have been publishing this story in the organization on every day, putting up the pieces, what people are doing from the ground, and bringing this so that it re-energizes people to do what they are doing from wherever they are doing. So there are multiple things that we could do, but I think it has worked well. It has worked well in all the constituents of the business. And this is where we are seeing the confidence of going back to work as the situation is, and we are taking care.
Okay.
I don't know whether I was audible properly or.
Sure. No, I think I was just trying to check. I think there's a little bit of an internet glitch coming in. We're unable to hear you consistently, but maybe if that continues, I might have to request you, Prakash, to switch off your video when you speak. But when you speak, I think now it's fine.
Okay.
So thank you so much, all of you, for your perspectives on this. I think let's just step a little bit forward on this, and let's try and spend some time in terms of describing what you think is going to be the new norm here on. I think what is going to permanently change in your workplaces that you visualize, something which you never did before, but now is going to be done very differently. Whether it's in terms of how you manage your own employees, how you approach your business, how your own way of doing business is likely to be changed. I think it would be hugely beneficial to hear your perspective on this. So, Sonal, what do you think is likely to happen?
Yeah, Rituparna, I mean, that's a question that we have been also looking at as to going ahead, how do we now operate? Because like the term has been coined, the new normal. So for us, as you can understand, and to all participants, like us is a very traditional company with, you know, the manufacturing setup and a sales setup, and reaching to the farmers, having meetings with the farmers. So you can imagine when it is in the gaons and gullies of, you know, the remotest place of India that we operate in, digital as much we were speaking at the head office couldn't be converted so much on ground. So we were with pamphlets earlier, and even a year back we were still with the pamphlets so far. So kind of promotions of the products, and thinking about farmers as little and not tech savvy, even if they carry the mobile. And we try to tell people that now farmers are also well equipped. This was pre-COVID, I'm saying, but things couldn't materialize. We also have hired a chief digital officer, but the struggle was very different. And suddenly we feel that we have been kind of transported 20 years ahead. I mean, that's the silver lining of COVID, I would say. But the digital front, like we already moved to the drone facility that's available, the drone technology too, because just to give a little idea that we reach to the farmers and show them a patch of their field being treated with our chemicals and with our products, and the other one without being treated with our product. And so then they collect more farmers from their vicinity and they come together, see it, and then they would vouch for that product kind of. Now the same thing is done through drone technology, and they're the people, like I think around 200 some farmers connected, and they could see it through that video, and the kind of response that we got was amazing. And that's kind of a game changer for us, for our industry, particularly our company per se, that the belief, as simple as this. Second, the belief in work from home. This work from home is only for IT and the tech companies and not for us. That was so ingrained that even if for one person, when we had to say giving a person for some time flexi timing or for some time giving work from home facility, used to be like a chain of order of getting the decision done. And today it kind of just opened up another area that it is possible. In fact, for so many years, we've never had our first quarter, at least the first month, April month, which is like the month where we stock the product, but the sale actually doesn't happen. But this is the first time the sale happened, because whoever could reach the farmer, that he or she was the winner in that. So that was the game changer again over there. So supply chain again got a lot of focus into this, because making was in your control still. Selling was again, they were reaching to the farmers, but how do you actually get the logistically, that product over there to the place of destination? So that is where various thoughts, out of box thinking, hunting for various digital apps and supply chain apps where we can actually go faster, cost effective, and even those kind of things emerged. So which we were unaware or really not into that zone. So I think these things about work from home, I will say digital, yes. I wouldn't say that we'll completely go digital, but yes, it opened up and it showed us also in it's kind of a pilot testing that has already happened. So these things, we will now have to put the discipline that we don't go back to the pre-era of COVID, because that's also an important thing. Because I think humans are always with more options, you kind of choose the laziest option that's available to you. And the way that with your experience, the thing that you think works best. But now everyone experienced this new world.
Yeah, I think we resist change to the longest possible time, and then when you have no other option but to change, we finally make it happen. I think COVID has taught that to us in all our organizations. So of course,
yeah,
I would actually like to pitch in and request all our participants who have started writing in that if you have questions, please avoid putting it on the chat block. Please, there is a Q&A tab that must be available to you. Please pour in all your questions in the Q&A tab, because that's the one that we will be monitoring. And yes, please feel free to, as we speak, as the dialogue goes on, to constantly write in your questions, and we'll come to it very soon. So yeah, I think, yes, Vikram, just to carry on the conversation, what do you think is going to happen? What do you think will permanently change in the way we work, in the way we do business, the way we handle our customers? What's your perspective on that?
Yeah, it is still, very premature to say that, this is going to be a fixed norm, or, this is the solution, because we never know 6 months down the line what is going to happen, 3 months down the line what is going to happen, whether the second round of, COVID will come back, and there will be some more, concerns, and newer things may come. But one thing is, very true. Today, all the business leaders and organizations are thinking positive. They are in a kind of situation where they can't look back or think, no, things will not be in place and all. And it all comes from the top. Today, if you ask me, there was a time when the CEOs and the heads, they would like to see the boardroom full. There will not be any seat vacant in the boardroom, and they would like to meet people face to face, and kind of have the dialogue or discussions and all. Today they themselves have realized how much time it saves if we do it online, and everybody gets connected, and there is huge amount of savings in terms of time, money, travel. So this is something, it starts from the top. So they will adapt to the situation and reach out to people through online mode more. Second important thing which is happening and going to happen is more communications. Earlier we used to have a single town hall in a quarter, in a year, or sometime here and there. But today, if you see, the senior management and the employees also seek a lot of clarification, clarity. So these town halls and webinars or virtual meetings will happen more often, maybe in a fortnightly basis or monthly basis kind of thing. So because, as I said, next 3 months what going to happen, we do not know. Nobody can predict after 6 months. What we can only anticipate and think positively.
Right.
Third important thing to me is a lot of transparency will come, lot of open communication will come. In terms of HR, if you ask whether it is talent acquisition or talent the organization is hiring, or in terms of training that organization wants to give to their employees, the kind of increments or appraisals or the kind of things are going to happen, organizations are very candid and open and transparent, which otherwise would not have reached the lower rung people. Now today everybody openly says that yes, we are in a situation where we will not be able to do XYZ things, and let us all kind of sacrifice here and there little bit and all. So that is very good concept which has come. There is open conversation happening, so people know that what is expected out of them and all. Same way, a lot of automation and digital transformation will happen, which will lead to a lot of redundant of jobs, so that now people, they need to upscale and reskill themselves, so that they are employable. So those kind of things will, the directions will come from the management and the organization straight to the employees. Then you not have to through other channels or know from other channels what are going to happen and all. This kind of things going to come in the coming days.
Thanks so much, Vikram. The fact that our cities have been congested, our public transportation system is so weak, the fact that employees are spending so much of unproductive time on roads has been a known fact for a very long time. But it could not make us change our mind, and we needed something like COVID to kind of completely alter our view on all these fronts, right? So I mean, honestly, I again, like I keep reminding ourselves that in a situation where we are encountering COVID, where we're encountering COVID in our lives, there are really no villains here. There are just victims. And I think it's clear to us that people react differently when a situation like COVID arises. Dr. Prakash, what's your perspective on this? What do you think is going to change in your business environment, in your work environment for good here on?
Yeah, so basically we are talking a lot around and we are using often around new normal. I think I would like to use it differently, that how to get normal in abnormal. And I think that is the behavior that we always wanted to shape, but we were not shaping for the sheer human nature of resistance to change. So COVID is making a lot of things possible, as you said, Ritu. So I think the adaptability has never been at test the way it is being tested in this magnitude. And every business, and at the same time, I would say also that we being human beings, we also have to accept our vulnerabilities. We do not have all the answers. So let's start from the fresh slate that we do not have the answers what we are going to do, but we have to envision and dream in terms of finding the solution and to multiple problems of the business as well as in the people. Now, I would say on the business side, as an organization, we are already having a lot of digital tools and technologies. Now, the way we see it as, though we have, but the acceptability from the market was always a kind of taking a slow pace. Maybe our customers could be more interested in embracing the technology. And I'll tell you about one particular technology, what we call the Insight. And Insight is where we deploy our digital tool and solutions at customers' O&M sites, where at sitting at our corporate office, we can monitor every site and every constituent of the operations and management, operations and maintenance. Now, this solution has been there, but it was a little tough for us to push to the customer because customer always wanted a physical manpower on the operation and maintenance plant to run the operations. Now these will undergo a lot of change. If we look at the sales, I think the sales will go a lot of change. There will be a lot of virtual selling, but it will call for a kind of positioning by the company in terms of its offerings and solutions, the way the customer gets the confidence. So there are a lot which is going to happen. There will be because the cost is a huge focus area for everyone. I think the pressure on the business will increase. So that's how the approach of relook and reimagine and repurposing ourselves will be at there. Now, coming on the HR side, I think if I see technology, I think in HR there has already been a lot of technology, a lot will come. But the point which I would like to put forward is that embracing of technology will increase. And I'll take an example. And this example may be from a different industry, but I think it has implication for all of us. Banking has always been insisting for digital submission of information followed by paper-based signed document. Now in COVID, banks are quite comfortable with handling the digital forms, and so should be the HR in every organization. I don't think we should be insisting employees that, okay, give me the signed document. And I'll tell you, during this COVID time, we onboarded almost 1/3 of our total people hired in this year, and we carried the virtual joining as well as onboarding. And there wasn't any physical employment letter, there wasn't any physical on-site onboarding session, but everything happened. And I think this is how we have to look at all the aspects. A simple technology which most of the organization would have is that how do we do the biometric? Now I think the biometric is probably dead, but new solutions will come. So I think the embracing of technology and getting confidence with the data, that will be important. If I look at when we are talking about digital solution, now on the digital side, I think the data security, cyber security, these issues will become paramount for the organizations, because if your life is digital, then you need to be secured and safe while dealing it. So these are the common issues which are very important. For our organization, we are taking a kind of, I would put it as a 3C approach, what we call it: care, conserve and create. Care for self and family. Environment, we are being an environment company for so many years, uh, and care for society and care for company business. Similarly, conserve cash for the prudent business decisions, conserve resources for society and environment, and be responsible in your actions, and conserve cost so that you are profitable and sustainable in the business, and create new energy and momentum and enhance productivity, new business streams, new relationship, and innovation for business growth and solving the problems of the society. So it's a whole contextual framework, and I think every organization need to contextualize its business into the changing dynamics of the world. And there are a lot of self-drawn meaning rather than following from the industry would happen. This is my take, Ritu.
Thanks so much. Thanks so much. Excellent. Thank you so much, panelists. I think all of you have thrown up some really excellent and things that we can actually practically imbibe in our, or like, for example, the point that you made on sales. Like, of course, every business has to think about reimagining how sales happens, because the earlier modus operandi around sales definitely will get questioned, but it's not that business will come to end. It's not that we will stop selling or we can afford to stop selling. So I think thanks so much for those insights. I'm going to shift gears a little bit. I'm going to shift gears in terms of what do you expect from a very important stakeholder today in trying to put India back to work, and that is the government. The government has recently announced, quite a few relief-related, I think, dole-outs, whatever you might call it. But I think from our perspective, from TeamLease perspective, we've always believed that given that right now we need to create positivity around there being jobs available, because there is clearly a lot of panic that currently is going around, and hence the only way for you to get back jobs is if you are able to employers and organizations feel that they have an ecosystem, and especially when I say ecosystem, from a labor ecosystem or a labor law ecosystem, which makes it conducive, helps you or helps organizations to rebound and get back to work. So, and you've also heard some bold announcements that have come through from specific state governments, like UP government came out with some announcements, MP government, we've heard some from Gujarat. We've been hearing that from different states per se. While personally, I believe that that's a great chain reaction to have been kickstarted. But from your perspective, I'd like to hear your views that if you want some changes in the labor law ecosystem, what do you think those changes should be at this point? Because personally, I believe that if now we don't realize the importance of labor reform, we never will. So if you were to have certain specific asks, and please come at it from your individual organization perspective, what would those be? Sonal, I'll start with you. I mean, though yours is an industry which thankfully, fortunately, have not been touched by COVID so much, but this is a great window of opportunity for all of us. And hence, what would you be asking from the government at this point? State, central?
Yeah, I think, Ritu, I mean, good that you've asked this question on this platform. So, seriously, for the unprecedented times and the kind of situation that literally is kind of a World War III for all of us, the government, I would like to really, first of all, thank, because to bring in that kind of confidence and trust and coming up with the kind of measures as general public first, I'm saying, because we have various subsidiaries in various other countries as well, like Brazil and Philippines, something in China, a joint venture in China, and Europe subsidiary. And we've seen that never have we seen this kind of actions being taken where we felt that yes, as India on the world map, we were also trying, struggling with these things, but proactively taking some steps on this. So, like for example, Brazil, when I was talking to a counterpart, ways that we need to follow during, and this is a lockdown period and all, they were kind of clueless. So they were like, this is nothing's been strict out here, and so we were kind of saying that even if your government's not doing, you need to follow the company rules and regulation, which is further to the government rules and regulation. So either the government rules which are stricter than what we have laid down, or whatever we have laid down should be followed. So the same thing in Bangladesh also. The kind of comment that we've kind of heard is, I don't think here anyone cares. So from that perspective, I would say that at every point I felt so thankful, because even to handle just a company with all these kind of problems, it is, coming together and trying to sort out. And just imagine a country of our size with this kind of population to handle and to ensure that this doesn't go out of proportion. So that is one. On the labor front, yes, we also faced problems related to contract labor. And I think contract labor, there was more of a psychological thing happening with the workforce there, the contract workforce. They were migrant laborers. And, when you face such kind of a situation, the first thing is to be with the family. That is your first basic instinct, to be safe, to be with your family. And then comes, so it's like at that point it is like, gaon bhi theek hai, everything is okay, we will be safe there, and you want to go back. And I think government, we hear both side of reports that government did good enough and government did not do good enough for their, transporting back these people. And a lot of stories came out on that front. But for us, when they opened up as an essential, and at that same time they had this facility of, departing them back to their villages. So it was a tight situation from the business point to retain these people, and at the same time from the emotional point that everyone wanted to go home, and it didn't really matter to them at that point what kind of compensation the company is ready to pay. That was the whole conundrum that we were all going through. So on that front, I think labor reforms which government has already taken to make it into 4 codes, I think that will be very useful, because that will ease out a lot of things. There are many interpretations today that happens in our whatever labor issues, legal issues that are happening. So there is a Factories Act, there's an Industrial Dispute Act, and there is a definition of a workman, worker differently in different, acts. So I think coming and combining these into 4 will be something that will be a level next, because that will simplify a lot of things. And instead of, having a fun ride for the lawyers today, it will be much better simplified version with one interpretation, or if not one, at least not many interpretations to go for. Much more, this government looks like a little bit more business pro, I think, but at the same time, they're now shifting gears towards the farmers, towards the contract laborers. Some more benefits on that front, their insurances, which they started. I think that gives a little bit of, that sensitivity bringing in that, because these people do not have those kind of resources. So to that extent, I feel they can do much more on that front for the contract labor workforce to ensure their safety, health, and a certain standard of living being maintained.
Sure. Thanks so much. Vikram, what would you hope to see coming through from the government, especially on labor laws? State, central government, doesn't really matter.
See, I have a lot of things to share, and government is doing in the right direction. First is today context. Cash is king. Everybody needs cash, whether employees or workmen or labor. Today, if we have 5 crore PF, provident fund accounts are there for this workmen and labor, we should have the mechanism within a week's time 50% of the whatever tenure they are worked or contributed, they should get 50% of their PF contribution back in their account. If that kind of thing happens, it will be a big relief for so many people. And I think there is some changes in the PF Act, and they are working on it. But today the need of the hour is if the money can come back to them immediately, because there are a lot of things to do, to plan, think. If they don't have money at hand, they can't even go back to their workplace and all. That is one. Second, we can think of in the Payment of Wages Act, there is fortnightly payment and monthly payment. Can we make daily payment? Today, with the fintech companies all over the place, whether through Paytm or through any other channel, you can reimburse the wages on a daily basis. That will be a game changer. The people need not have to wait for a week or 15 days to get the wages. Another important thing which I am seeing is the use of ESI hospitals. Government is using for others, even general public, to get the facility for quarantine and other things in ESI hospital. There are very good ESI hospital all over the country, and we can manage giving more advantage, and the ESI employees who are covered under ESI should get a premium. They should get first-hand facility in those establishment. Then now coming to government and the TeamLease, I have some idea while hearing all of you came to my mind. We have Workmen Compensation Act. Why can't we have Workmen Referral Act? Like if some employees, the referral schemes are there in the companies where we incentivize people who refer candidates and all. Same way, if government can come and encourage workmen to kind of vouch and to refer another worker, whether in their villages or ground level, then there is a big change in the mindset of people. People will think, yeah, if I can refer 10 workmen and I get some incentive, it is a fantastic way of encouraging people to come back to cities and work. So my urge will be with the policy makers and people like TeamLease and all. Why can't we think of Workman Referral Act? We have WC Act, we have WR Act. We can think that is something out of box. We can think. Same way, the portals. Like in the LinkedIn, we have say 5 crore Indians are connected in LinkedIn, or XYZ number of people are connected in Indeed. Can we have a dedicated portal for labor or workmen, where we never thought they will today use Reliance JioMart and all, and do all transactions through mobile? Then they can also use these portals as their a source of employment or source of getting jobs, whatever their skill set is there, because the future will be gig workers, so they themselves can vouch where they can come and all. So these things, ideas came to my mind while
great. I'll probably, we'll connect one-on-one with you to work on some of these points for sure. The workman referral is a brilliant suggestion. On the second point you raised about the coming out with a nationwide matching platform, essentially. Incidentally, this is not something which has happened on account of COVID, but even before COVID, NITI Aayog had organized a discussion, and an open discussion where wherein we also participated, wherein they wanted our suggestions in terms of whether India can come out just the way we have we have the NPCI, or we have a BEAM, which is right now pretty much the infrastructure of all fintech transactions. Can we come out with a basic infrastructure, matching for India, And it is essentially infrastructure which anybody else can use. Just like the current UPI framework can be used by any banks, right? Pretty much any fintech, the same way if a core ecosystem gets created which enables matching, and then any one of us can use it to connect and to be able to hire, then why not? So anyway, I think that's, of course, right now is at the drawing board stage, but I think the government is, I'm talking on behalf of the government, pardon me for that, but the government is definitely thinking in this direction to kind of see what can be done about this. So let's wait and see how that takes shape. Yes, Prakash, on to you now. Now the last few words, because we have quite a few questions which have piled up. We are running short on time, and yeah.
So my take on this issue is we can have a wish list for the government, but what is our list of adoption? And I think this throws open a lot of responsibility areas. And I would say that in the area of compliance and labor and employment, the shift is happening and should happen from enforceability to adoption, from manual to digital. And I think there are laws, but and this I'm saying with conviction, because the way we practice ourselves in the organization is that how do we see beyond the adoption of the enforceability of the labor laws by adopting it. And I'll take a very simple example, that we are all seeing the migrant crisis. But if we go into the genesis of this crisis, why it has happened? Because somewhere the employer of those migrant workers disowned at the time when they were most needed. And I think I would like to stress upon this point that the flexible workforce is an integral part of the business model. So how do we embrace that and how do we handle that? I think that's a larger question. We do have a lot of contract workers because of our nature of our business, which is in project and the sites. And we have gone beyond. And I'll take one very simple example that how we are integrating what is available today. For most of the contract workers, the ESI would be applicable. And the employers would normally tend to stop there because they are compliant and there is a benefit scheme. But we thought beyond. And because there are a couple of government schemes which are like your around insurance, around medical support, accident premium. So we wanted to integrate these schemes into our mechanism of offering to the contract workers so that they are secured beyond the purviews of the benefits of the ESI. And that is how we need to see this ecosystem so that we shape it for the larger business cause. So this is my take, and I would like to say that it's more for the employers to look at, and government is moving in the right direction in terms of simplification, responsiveness, and the kind of integration into the labor laws.
They love to hear that from you all, if that's what you think. Excellent. So I think now, I have to take up some questions, and like the norm is, I see common patterns in many of the questions, and hence I will bundle that up into one single question and request the panelists to kind of respond to them. So thanks a lot, Prachi, Karunanidhi, Keshav, Anita, Pradeep, a couple of anonymous attendees as well, Durga, Bikram, Sandeep, Divyang, Nidhis, we have Rabindra, Karishma, Vedant. I mean, thank you so much for sharing your questions. All of them are useful. All of them, of course, needs an answer. I may not be able to address all your queries, but do stay in touch one-on-one with us and we'll definitely give you a response. But I think one question which is coming through across quite a few of you is that, you have this challenge currently where there is a missing segment of migrant workers or guest workers in different businesses. and which is likely to create some kind of manpower shortage. And I think the question that is being asked, I think this question has been posed to you, this question has been posed to me, that what does one do to kind of handle this situation in the short run, and what would be your advice if any company is going through a situation like this? I think there is an extension of that question, is that which is based on points made by all three of you, that there are apprehensions, concerns, and hence how does organization go about addressing these concerns? The concerns could be around lodging. The concerns also could be sometimes about transportation or public transportation, and hence your thoughts on it. And Sonal, Prakash, Vikram, given the paucity of time, I would request you to summarize your point as well as you can within the time limits. Thank you so much.
So, is it okay if I answer first?
Yes,
Too?
yes, please. Anyone?
Yeah. So of course, because of the India has a huge migrant population of the laborers, and I think we never realized that problem or the magnitude, how it is. It could be in a crisis situation. We also never thought that what ecosystem needs to be shaped up by different governments around it, and in fact, it only remained as Interstate Migrant Act. So I think the time has come where this issue is being looked at by both employers community as well as the government in terms of an integrated mechanism which does not become a labor of a particular segment or a geographical region, but the labor becomes flexible in real sense to the whole nation. And I think a lot will come, but till it comes, I think each of the businesses will have to grapple on their own area. And I would say it's more like supportive facilitation and rehabilitation is the approach which will make sense. I was interacting with a senior Karnataka government labor department official, and he was not viewing that as a real crisis the way we are looking at it, because there was a very insightful mention that there is a lot of local laborers who are coming up. So I think we also need to be cognizant of the opportunity areas, what is there, but at the same time, I think the labor will move back to the work areas the moment they start seeing the support extended by the employer or the state. So this will take time, but I think we are there, and it's more like a readjustment problem than the problem itself.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think, I mean, there are various conflicting views. There are many people who believe that migrant labor problem has been, it has been made bigger than it really is. And some people actually believe that it is going to hamper organizations. So I think we really don't know how it's going to impact, but my sense from my own understanding of from different businesses and customers that there is going to be some temporary impact on account of this. Great. I think there is one question which I wanted to take up, which is in the wake of this pandemic, are organizations going to devise different sets of HR policies for different groups of employees? Because there is a possibility, and just to extend on the question which Durga has raised, that there is a possibility that you will have clearly factions emerging right now. You will have certain number of employees who will work from home. There'll be certain number of employees who will be working on site or just the way from offices. Do you think that there would be such a need in the days to come, or it's going to be one set of policies?
I think, Rituparna, that question is very valid, and for sure there will be a different set of policies, because if everyone was working from home because of the lockdown, tomorrow it's going to be a situation where some of them will be working from home and some from the office. So it will require, one is the challenge of like the managers getting equipped to having some people in front of you while some others being at home and working. So also the protocols that and equipping the managers as to how to operate in a mixed scenario like this, because it was fairly easy when it is everyone was working from home. So one is that, and another policy, yes, for work from home, how do we operate in terms of leaves and holidays, and how do you take some short leaves during you're working from home? What kind of discipline you need to follow? Because so far we have all been tuned to just being in the office from this time to this time. It was all very the physical aspect of it being there. Now, when you don't see your employee or your colleague or your subordinate and expecting that person to deliver, then the deliverables, the productivity norms, how stringent you want to make the smart KRAs for the smarter, because all these things will open up these areas as well.
Okay.
So yes, I feel different.
So Ritu, I would like to add upon what Sonal said, and she said very valid point. I think it is not around just the policies. It is around the workplace and workforce. All the three constituents are undergoing significant changes. And I think HR has always been expected to be differentiated in the approach, but I think the differentiation can be better and can be more meaningful. We need to just focus our programs and policies and guidelines around the value creation. I think that should be the bottom line, that how value is created, because the value now today can be created from anywhere. So the place becomes insignificant. And how and who is creating value and what value has been created, I think that should be the determining factor around design of the multiple policies. The various areas of HR, whether I heard Sonal mentioning about performance management and the whole aspect of productivity capture. I would say the whole aspect of career, the whole aspect of communication, the team management, it is going to be radically changing. So the managers need to be insightful and also looking at solutions, how to manage. And it may not be just the HR which can just give all the answers. It is again the adoption of those programs and policies and the guidelines will have to be seen. But it's more of a practice which has to be changed rather than the policy per se. Policy will keep adapting to the requirements.
Yeah, Ritu, I just want to highlight one from your chat, this thing, for the earlier question by Sandeep Gandotra. I really like that answer of his, where he's talking about either we will get good kind of quality workforce, and also second is the industries will move towards UPBR, which will again open a growth phase for these states as well.
Absolutely. I mean, honestly, if that happens, nothing like it. It's clear that if every state takes responsibility of ensuring job creation within their respective boundaries and comes up with policies, frameworks, ecosystem which enables that, I think the current challenge that we are seeing, where a large number of migration happens from the north and east to the south and west, can be dealt with. But I think the states need to really step up in order to be able to get to that position. And that's why as a company, we believe that 29, 30 chief ministers matter more than one prime minister, especially when it comes to jobs and skills. There are also a few questions on TeamLease, which I'm going to take a quick opportunity to respond. I think a company like TeamLease, we are springboards in good times and shock absorbers in bad times. So when somebody asks me what changed at TeamLease, my simple response is, we are a child of change and crisis and uncertainty. And hence, whenever there is a change in the business environment, it becomes imperative for TeamLease to respond, because we are clearly the waiter in the restaurant and not the chef. And as and when the chef decides to change the menu, we need to just serve different stuff. So I think there has been substantial changes, while there has been continuity in many aspects. So I think the fact that our entire business were operational from offices, but now we can actually successfully, and we've demonstrated it, operate remotely, all our operations itself is a huge change. And I think the fact that we have been able to give options of digital solutions to our customers when they, earlier there was resistance, but suddenly when there was a need, there was something available to them. And again, how we responded to them with those solutions. I think I could give you a huge list of things that have changed, but for us it's very normal. So I don't consider that as a new normal. That's how staffing organizations are meant to be. I think I'll take one more questions before I'll have to get to the rapid fire round, and then we will call it a wrap. Okay, I think there has been a question that how do you, like a lot of people are talking about work from home and the shift to work from home. But how does one connect virtually and stay engaged? Of course, there are tools and solutions which one can talk about. There is Zoom, there is Meet, there is Slack, God knows how many such. But actually, how do you stay engaged when suddenly from employees being in front of you, you can't even see them?
So, Ritu, I'll pitch in our unit what we have done. There are great service providers like Microsoft. Okay, you are talking about only the connectivity like the Zoom, the Microsoft Teams, the Cisco Webex. Then Google also have their Google Meet. Okay, Google Meet. So these are all virtual meeting platforms. But there are companies like Microsoft. They're coming up with apps which will monitor the daily workload. There is something called Microsoft Kaijala, which we are using very extensively.
Did I lose you there, or am I the only one? Sorry, Vikram. Hello.
Yeah, am I audible?
Yeah, Vikram is audible.
Yeah, Ritu, what I am saying.
Ritu, you are able to hear? Okay, I think she'll reconnect.
So I'll continue.
Yeah, you go ahead.
We have Microsoft Kaijala app. That's a power app.
I can't hear you properly.
Ritu, you're able to hear me?
Hello? Is that the problem at my end, Ashley, Sony, or is there a challenge at Vikram's end?
Your end is low.
Hello?
We can hear you, Ritu. Are you able to hear me?
Hello?
From this side, I think some problem in your system.
There is a problem at my end?
Yeah.
Yes, Ritu.
Is there a problem at my end? Okay. Okay, why don't you guys that's okay. You guys carry on with this conversation.
Fine. I was telling
Carry on with the conversation.
Yeah, I was telling this Microsoft Kaijala power up. Every day, when the employee logs in the morning, say, stipulated time, whether he is in office or at home, if he, enters the app, he can register what time he logged in, and he can converse with the immediate superior or, a reporting manager that what kind of job he's doing for the day, and throughout the day they can, interact and record it. So that is how we have monitored the workload of employees, and employees are also finding it very kind of user friendly. So people who will be working from home, this kind of apps or this kind of service providers will come up with a lot of innovations, and I say that necessity is mother of invention. So new things of recording work will come, and you can monitor.
Okay. Ritu, are you there?
So
I think one question that I see is about the concern for employees to return to the office. And, like Vikram, you said about some father talking to you talking to one of the father whose only son coming to it. So how do we give confidence to those, to the employees? I'll just respond, and Vikram or Prakash, you can take it further. So I think we all need to realize that this is the way it is going to be for some more time. It's not just a few days or months. And it's important that as employers, we take the responsibility towards the safety of the employees as the first and prime priority, and not just looking at the business figures and business numbers to be gained at. So for us, I think a few things that we kind of did were actually putting in communication to the parents, to the spouses, having entire a teams meeting where 250 people could come in. So having those families together to give them the assurance, and the leadership team first being in the office to bring in the confidence back into the people that we have taken care and we are the first one to go there. And the various tools that are used, like the mask is provided, sanitizers, and pictures have been put across as well as sent to the families, that somehow we need to step up now and come out into the open and start working with proper precautions being taken care. And when you take care of yourself, you're actually taking care of others as well. Yeah. Prakash or Bikram, anyone wants to respond?
So I would like to
1 minute, Ritu, you're back, right? We just took one question.
No, thank you so much. Thank you so much. These are the challenges of technology. So I suddenly froze. I think I couldn't really.
So no worries. Yeah.
No, I think
I'd like to add to what Sonal and Vikram were saying about, for me, the way we are talking about work from home, it looks like we have got the panacea for all the ills of the workplace. It is not. It is only, and I would say majorly, the infrastructural issues have been worked out, which is enabling the work to be carried out. But I think the larger question is that how do we intertwine the emotive part of the work into the work from home? I'll give you a very simple thought process. When an employee comes to an office and his mood or her mood seen in the office environment can make a lot of difference. A person may be going through some stress, but coming to work, how do we capture and understand this part of the dynamics of the workplace? I think we will be making some mistake if we just rely on the work from home and the infrastructure per se. That is only one part or the major part of the solution. But as managers, I think we need to reinvent our sense and sensibility of connecting to the workforce, whether it is work from home or at the workplace. I think that will be put to test. We do not have all the answers, but I think there is the real meaning of change and adaptation.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I think because we are really short of time, we're going to quickly move to the rapid fire. And like I said, please respond in a couple of syllables at best. So I think, or a percentage or a number, like or whatever you think is appropriate. So the first question is going to be, I'm going to finish all the questions with one of you and then move to the other. So when do we go back to the pre-COVID levels of growth? What's your estimate?
After a year.
12 months. Excellent. Would there be less jobs in the next 12 months in this country? Fewer jobs. Actually, is there going to be a shrinkage?
Yes.
Okay. Do you think the average wages are likely to go down during this phase?
No.
Okay. Also, do you think that organization will have increasingly have an antibiotic reaction to anything permanent, whether it's permanent offices, permanent employees, permanent compensation structures? So is that
really.
Not really? Okay, excellent. That was a question driven by self-interest, really. Do you, I don't know how much dependency you have on guest workers. That's a question, that's an open-ended question. But at the moment, amidst all this COVID, how many of those people in your workforce have left for whatever be the reason?
Not many, so less than 5% or so.
That happened because your dependency on guest workers and migrant workers were less, or you managed to create incentive for them to stay back?
we created incentives because for the manufacturing front, we had to, for them to stay back and be in the plant, staying into the plant itself. So a lot of incentivizing went into that.
So what percentage of your overall workforce will permanently move to work from home now?
I think maybe 30% or so.
Interesting. Thank you so much, Sonal. I'll move on to Bikram. First questions, when do we go back to the pre-COVID levels of growth?
1 month.
Wow. Excellent.
Starkly different.
Would there be less jobs in the next 12 months?
More jobs.
Okay. My God, I think you should be put on a pedestal right now already. Would average wages go down?
It will go up.
Okay. And again, my self-interest driven questions. Do you think that organization will have an antibiotic reaction going forward? In general, may not be yours, towards anything permanent, whether it's real estate, employees, compensation?
More flexible.
Right. How many of your guest workers leave during the COVID period?
30%.
Wow. And what percentage of your workforce now permanently will be working from home?
In my unit, it is 60 to 70%.
Cool.
Depends.
Okay, cool. I think all your questions are done. Doctor, now it's time to move to Doctor. Doctor, first question for you is that when do we go back to the pre-COVID levels of growth?
12 to 18 months for normal, but pre-COVID never.
Wow. Wow, okay. Will there be less jobs in the next 12 months?
New jobs.
Less new jobs or less?
I'm saying there will be new jobs.
There'll be new kinds of jobs.
Yes.
Okay, fine. Would the average wages go down during the next 12 months?
No, it will go up because benefit composition will change.
Right. So leading on from that questions, would you think organization will have antibiotic reaction to anything permanent office space, permanent employees, permanent?
I'm a firm believer of Ayurvedic and homeopathic.
Which means alternative theories. My God, you guys are being so diplomatic. Okay, how many of your guest workers did not left during the COVID period?
I would say 10% from the project sites.
Okay. And what percentage of your overall workforce will permanently move to work from home?
I would say not more than 20%, particularly those who work in the night shift.
Okay. Good. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, all three of you. We've extended the time today horribly. Apologies for the glitches at my end on technology as well. But I think it has, all of this essentially helps us learn a little bit from each other, and that's the intent of doing this. Also, it gives us the feeling that we are all in it together, so that people do not feel that ye problem se mere saath ho raha. I think problems, solutions, we are all in the same gutter. I think it's just that few of us are looking up. I think that's the perspective we can take from here. So I think we will keep this learning conversation going. Some of you have asked specific questions. We will try and please do reach out to us one-on-one, and I'll try and help you with responses to as many of them as possible. Stay tuned, stay safe, and let's be at it in terms of putting India back to work. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sonal. Thank you, Ritu, and thank you everyone on the call. Thank you.
And all the
Thank
viewers.
you, all of you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Ritu. Bye.